I'm gonna need the people who had all that smoke for Jonathan Majors because of who he was dating and the situation that he has ended up in to have the same smoke for this situation right here. But I won't hold my breath. So in this picture you see two people. On the left, a woman by the name of Megan Ashley Stedman, and on the right is a man by the name of Chris Foyles. Now this man was dating, or they were dating each other. They were actually boyfriend and girlfriend, and he ended up deleting her. As a matter of fact, it wasn't enough for him to simply delete her, but he actually deleted her while they were in an RV, because I'm guessing they lived in an RV, or he left her body in the RV for weeks before people found out that he was the one that did it, or before he finally confessed to doing it. He actually lived with her body, her corpse, for weeks after he stabbed her to death and finally confessed to actually doing it. Now I don't know how long she was in there for, but it said for weeks, so I'm going to assume it had to be probably well over a month. And I'm reading this story from Law and Crime, and it's dated January 17th 2024 as far as when the article was posted, but I'm recording the video on January 21st 2024. Cops have released the worst possible news in their search for a missing woman. Her ex-boyfriend allegedly stabbed her to death and possibly lived with her body for weeks in an RV. Chris Foyles, age 42, is being held in the Bonneville County Jail in Idaho on a charge of first-degree murder. Police in Bozeman, Montana have been looking for the victim, Megan Ashley Stedman, who was 34, saying she was linked to a certain RV. That ended tragically on Friday when someone found a 1973 Dodge RV with no license plate or vehicle identification number matching the description in Idaho Falls, Idaho, according to court documents obtained by the Spokesman Review. Officers said they received no answer when they knocked on the RV door and did surveillance while waiting for their Bozeman counterparts to arrive with a search warrant. Before they could arrive, however, Foyles allegedly exited the vehicle. "I am Chris Foyles," he said, according to the report documents. "I killed my girlfriend. She is in the RV." Now listen to how standoffish he sounds. He said, "Yeah, I pretty much did it." Doesn't that sound like the tone that Chad Wheeler had when he damn near beat his girlfriend to death, who was black as well? He was like, "Oh, I thought you died." See how like it's just like it's nothing. It's nothing for them to just act in this vein. To the black, the divestors out there, I hope you're listening, but something tells me you're not. And something also tells me they probably didn't talk about the story, and if they did, they probably found a way to spin the block and turn it on the black men. Cops found Stedman's body in the back of the RV, according to the Spokesman Review. Foyles allegedly claimed he and Stedman arrived in Idaho Falls on around December 22nd, parking the vehicle on the south side of the Walmart on Utah Avenue. 2 weeks before his arrest, he and Stedman got into an argument while parked at the Walmart, he allegedly said. Afraid she would call the cops because of a no-contact order between them, he stabbed her in the neck and chest with a kitchen knife, intending to kill her, then returned to finish the killing, stabbing her several times in the upper back when he heard her moving, according to documents. Stedman's family reportedly described her disappearance as out of character. She would have not left without communicating with her children and loved ones, especially in light of Christmas and her daughter's birthday on January 10th. Stedman's family described the relationship between her and Foyles in troubled terms. For example, Janelle Anari, a close friend, said Stedman called her in a panic during their last conversation. She was trying to leave her ex-boyfriend, according to Spokane, Washington radio KXLY. There had been some type of escalated situation between the two of them, and she wanted to know if I could wire her some money to get cash and come home, she reportedly said. The police investigation is ongoing. Bozeman cops asked the public for any information regarding previous sightings on the motorhome between this past December 15th and January 12th, or any information connected to Stedman's disappearance. Idaho Falls officers who are investigating the murder asked for information on Foyles' movements between December 15th and January 12th. This is the statement from the Idaho Falls police. Investigators are asking for public assistance for gathering information about Foyles' movements between December 15th and January 12th. Anyone who saw Foyles or the motorhome pictured over the past 4 weeks is asked to report the information to the Idaho Falls Police Department by emailing IFPD Detective Reed at creed@idahofalls.gov or calling the non-emergency dispatch line at 208-529-1200. Please reference case number 2024-1289. The motorhome is a 1973 tan motorhome with obvious damage to the rear driver's side and a red stripe down the side. At some point in the last 4 weeks, the stripe was painted blue. So he basically tried to cover his tracks. And that's the entire story right there. Again, he sounded very standoffish when he said it. They said he had the body in there for weeks. He just didn't care. Apparently, they said they got into an argument, and then that's when he stabbed her in the neck and chest. And then when he noticed that she was moving, he came back to finish her off. So he made sure that she was there. He wanted her gone. And then to just leave the body there for weeks. He didn't care about this woman's friends, her family, or her children. And I'm hoping and assuming the children she had was not with him. But still, and also look at the age gap. Granted, they're both consenting adults, but he was 42 and she was 34. Now, I beg the question again, what do the divestors have to say about this? Because this story has been out for a couple days now, and I haven't heard really anyone say anything about it. But when Jonathan Majors had his situation, everybody couldn't wait to dump on him, and we saw that situation and how that unfolded. I just find it very interesting when it comes to stories like this. It seems very one-sided. Even when it came to the Chad Wheeler situation, they were very quiet about that. It seems like anytime there's a situation where it's a black woman and a white man together and something like this ends up happening, they get very, very quiet. And this is not something that's just started. This has been going on for quite some time. But I know they probably not going to talk about this because it's obvious they didn't care about her either. They could care less. As long as they going out there getting something for themselves, they could care less about what happens to someone else who listens to their rhetoric. Now, I don't know how this woman's mindset was. I can't gauge it. I don't know what her mindset is. But the one thing we do know is, unfortunately, she lost her life at the hands of this obvious demonic entity who could care less about her life or anyone around her that will be affected by her, one, have been missing, and two, her death, because she's not coming back. I don't know what kind of sentencing he's going to get considering the circumstances. Hopefully they throw the book at him. They said they hit him with first-degree murder charges. Hopefully they stick and he goes to prison for life without the possibility of parole. That's the only way that you can really see how this all plays out. I just want to know why the energy isn't kept the same. They always have to say, well, black men, if you just stayed away from the white women, this wouldn't happen to you. So I asked the question to them. Or tell them the same thing. Black women, if you stay away from the white men, maybe this would not happen to you. But again, I'm telling you, them divestors are very tricky. They're going to spin it. If they ever get wind of this story, if they haven't already, they're going to spin it and say and try to take themselves out of it. I know, because we've seen it happen so many times. So this bit of information I actually didn't even know about, and it's crazy because on the first part of the video I recorded roughly about 10 days or maybe 9 days before this new information came out, because I didn't go back to look to see if there was anything else that could have been added in there. But apparently there was 2 more additional things that came out on this day and on another day, which I'm going to cover right now. So the man who did this, it says he was indicted for murder and allegedly destroyed parts of the woman's body. So again, not only was he staying in the RV with her corpse, but he also had, apparently it looks like he dismembered her. It says a man appeared in court Friday shortly after being indicted by a grand jury for first-degree murder. Chris Brandon Foyles, age 42, was indicted by a grand jury on 1 count of first-degree murder, an enhancement for using a deadly weapon, and 1 count of destroying evidence. His original charge, which was filed on January 16th, a felony first-degree murder, was dismissed and replaced with a grand jury indictment. Foyles, originally from Moscow, appeared nearly emotionless in court as his attorneys, public defenders Jim Archibald and John Thomas, stood beside him, agreeing their client would continue to be held without bail. According to the indictment, Foyles willfully and with premeditation killed Megan Ashley Stedman with a knife. It also states Foyles did willfully destroy parts of a human body, knowing that the body parts were about to be produced, used, or discovered as evidence. Foyles is expected to appear in court on February 1st for his first district court arraignment. If convicted, he could face the death penalty or life in prison. So there's more stuff there. So again, he dismembered her in order to attempt to hide evidence while still being in the same RV with her body, or whatever was left of her body. This is a wild story, and it just seems to continue to get even more crazier as time continues to go forward. Update that came from this story. Now, mind you, the first part that I just recorded prior to me inserting the little wait, there's more break in there, I recorded that part about a month ago, around the time when the story first broke. But this right here came out maybe about a week or two, maybe a week later, but I didn't catch it, where this update says that the man accused of murdering young mother appears in court and the prosecutor is pursuing the death penalty. It was published February 1st, 2024, and then updated the next day on February 2nd. So I'm just going to read the update part because then it's going to go into the other part that I've already mentioned. It says a man indicted for first-degree murder may face the death penalty, according to prosecutors. Chris Brandon Foyles, age 42, was indicted by a grand jury on one count of first-degree murder for allegedly killing Megan Ashley Stedman, age 34. An enhancement for using a deadly weapon, and one count of destroying evidence. Bonneville County Prosecutor Randy Neal filed a notice Thursday that he intends to seek the death penalty in Foyles' case. First-degree murder is a capital offense in Idaho, but state law requires that the state give advance notice if it intends to seek the death penalty. The death penalty requires a finding of at least one aggravated factor from a list found in Idaho law. During his district arraignment on Thursday, public defense attorney Jim Archibald entered a not guilty plea on behalf of Foyles to all charges in the indictment. He is scheduled to appear in court for a status conference on March 5th, and a jury trial is scheduled for June 10th. If convicted, Foyles could face up to life in prison or the death penalty. So either way, he's not really getting out of this. Whether the death penalty that they're seeking goes through or not, at the very least, he's going to get life imprisonment, most likely without the possibility of parole. So I just wanted to come in here and insert that update because a lot of times, again, like I tell you, I upload one video a day. I can get so backed up. So a lot of stories that may have come out a while ago, I managed to upload them, but then I go back and look and see if there was any update that came from it. That way the story can still feel kind of fresh. And now it is, because this new information has come out. He's going to appear in court next week. Well, not next week, but next week. And then there's going to be some other things that's happening a couple months down the line. So I'm going to try to see if I can stay on top of this story to see where this actually heads.